welcome to Revenue Scotland's YouTube channel. This video will show you how to submit a lease return using the online portal. To submit a lease return, we will begin by selecting Create LBTT Return on the dashboard. Select Lease before continuing on the Return Summary page. Here you can see all of the sections that are required to be completed before submitting your lease return. We will begin by completing the About the Tenant section. You'll be given the option or a private individual, an organisation registered with Companies House or another organisation. We will select another organisation. On this page, you'll be asked what type of organisation describes the tenant. We will select Company, not registered with UK Companies House. You'll then be asked for the company details. You can use the postcode lookup tool to complete the address or enter the address manually. You'll then be asked to complete the contact details. You'll be asked if the tenant is connected to the landlord. You'll then be asked if the tenant is acting as a trustee or representative partner for tax purposes. You have now been brought back to the Return Summary screen. You can see an overview of the tenant details on this screen. You will then be required to complete the landlord's details. You'll be asked who is the landlord. We will select another organisation. On this page, you'll be asked what type of organisation describes the landlord. We will select Company, not registered with UK Companies House. You'll then be asked for the company details. You can use the postcode lookup tool to complete the address or enter the address manually. You'll now be taken back to the Return Summary screen. We will choose to save the return at this time. You can do this by selecting the Save Return button at the bottom of the page. Please note that if you do not save your progress and leave the return, your progress will be lost. You'll see a screen confirming that your draft has been saved. Click the Go to Dashboard link. From the dashboard, you can see your draft returns. Select the draft return you wish to continue with and press Continue to return to the Return Summary screen. We will now start the About the Property section of the return. First, you'll be asked for the property address. You'll then be asked for further information, including the local authority and the title number. If applicable, a parent title number would also be included here. Back on the Return Summary screen, we will now complete the About the Transaction portion of the return. You'll need to answer what the property type is for the transaction. We have selected non-residential. You then need to put in the dates for the effective date of transaction, the relevant date, the date of contract or conclusion of missives, the lease start date and the lease end date. You'll then be asked questions about the transaction. For our return, we have selected No to each of the questions asked. You're then asked about any linked transactions and if any relief is being claimed on this transaction. We have selected No for both of these questions. You're then asked for the value of the annual rent for the first year, including VAT. The next screen asks if this value is the same for all rental years. We have selected no, and you'll be asked for information of each year's rent. Input the value for each year into the corresponding box. You'll then be asked if any premium is being paid. We have selected no for this return. The next screen asks what the relevant rent amount is for the transactions. Input a value, then select Next. The next screen presents the net present value. Previously, this figure had to be calculated outside of the return using the tax calculators. The form will calculate a net present value based on the information given. As Land and Buildings Transaction Tax is a self-assessed tax, it is the responsibility of the person submitting the return to check that this value is correct. If it is not, you can edit these figures by clicking on the box and changing the figure. We will now return to the return summary screen. As Land and Buildings Transaction Tax is a self-assessed tax, it is the responsibility of the person submitting the return to check that this values under the About the Calculation section are correct. If not, you can edit the figure given by clicking on the box. On the Calculated Tax page, if there are any figures you wish to amend, select that box and make the appropriate change. We have no changes to make. We will press the next button to continue back to the return summary screen. We are now ready to submit the lease return. You'll be asked how you are paying. As this is a test environment, we only have two options, backs and cheque. If you have already signed up to pay by direct debit with Revenue Scotland, this option would also be available to you at this point. If after reading the declaration statements you are content to give your agreement, you must declare this by clicking the box beside the statement. Please note that as part of the upgrade to the Scottish electronic tax system, we have included a second declaration. I, the agent of the tenants, confirm that I have made my clients aware of their obligation to submit a 3-yearly lease review return or an assignation or termination return if such an event occurs before the review date. You cannot submit and make a return without completing the declaration statements. Our return has been submitted and we can see the confirmation page here. It contains details of the submission date, the return reference and the date when payment to Revenue Scotland is due. You can also find more information on how to pay for your return here, as well as information on penalties. You can print this confirmation screen for your records. If you had any questions at this stage, you could choose to send us a secure message from the screen by selecting Send Secure Message. We will continue back to the dashboard. This completes our lease return. If you have any questions, you can contact us at lbtt@revenue.scot or on 03000 200 310. Lines are open Monday to Friday from 9 AM to 4 PM. However, they do not open until 10 AM on a Thursday due to staff training.